You know, every now and then I'll stumble across a headline that just immediately puts me in a bad mood. And it puts me in a bad mood because it's either demonstrably false or completely irresponsible. And here, over the weekend, The Hill published an article with a headline that manages to be both of those things, both false and irresponsible. Here is the headline they ran with. Here are the Senate Republicans who could vote to convict Trump. The article then goes in to name Susan Collins, Mitt Romney, and Lisa Murkowski, right? Three of the more moderate Republicans in the Senate. You know, Mitt Romney's even gone out there and said, I think what Donald Trump did was wrong, and I'm very concerned about it, very concerned. Much like Susan Collins was very concerned about Brett Kavanaugh's past, which she told us right before she voted for him. This article, the headline, and The Hill for publishing it are stupid. And no offense to Alexander Bolton, is the person whose name is on this article. I'm sure you were assigned this article by somebody. Hopefully this is not something you chose to do, because if it is, this is grossly irresponsible. None of these Republicans, not Collins, not Romney, not Murkowski, are going to vote to convict and remove Donald Trump during the Senate impeachment trial. In fact, I'm willing to bet that a whopping 0 Republicans in the Senate are going to vote to convict and remove. It's simply not going to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I 100% believe, based on the evidence, that Donald Trump broke the law. He should be convicted and removed from office. There is no question about that. But to give people false hope like this, which is what this headline attempts to do, and we have seen the media run stuff like this for weeks now, acting like, oh, maybe some Republicans are going to flip. They're not, folks. They're simply not. We all do, unfortunately, need to curtail our expectations a little bit about what this impeachment inquiry is going to yield, because it will not yield Donald Trump getting removed from office. Now, I have said in the past that there are very specific little routes that if those routes are met for at least 20 different Republicans, then sure, you could get conviction and removal. But what those paths would have to be is that for every single individual Republican who flips, if they flip, they would, 1, have to see that polls show that they would lose their reelection. 2, the poll would have to prove beyond a doubt that the only reason they would lose that election is because they didn't vote to convict Trump. If you do not meet both of those criteria, they won't flip. They won't flip. And you're not going to meet those criteria because those are things that are nearly impossible to poll, impossible to sample. So it's not going to happen. Certainly not going to happen with 20 Republicans. I mean, hell, Democrats are going to be lucky if you can even get all your Democrats to vote for conviction and removal. Joe Manchin definitely won't. And you've probably got a couple other kicking around in there who won't. And then we're all going to look like idiots. And then you're going to have people who read trash like this from The Hill who say, but I thought The Hill said people were going to flip. I thought they said Republicans had a conscience. And that's my biggest problem with this article and other articles like it. Not just at The Hill, but The Hill is especially trash most times. It's that it paints Republicans in a positive, undeserved light. There is nothing positive about Susan Collins or Mitt Romney or Lisa Murkowski. And they actually say in the article that Murkowski's probably the best chance to flip on Donald Trump because she bucks him in Senate with her votes so many times. Yeah, she votes with Trump 74% of the time, okay? Do your research. I did. Took about 5 seconds. Not hard. But these Republicans aren't going to flip. They aren't suddenly going to grow spines or consciences. So stop trying to convince the American people that they might. Thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.